Ladies and gentlemen, they have reached a decision as to how Mr. Pew, Retro Blaster, will be getting bitch slapped for his jello and lemonade inside those high walls with razor wires. Let's go to the courtroom with the lovely Judge Boyd is ready to drop the entire house on this kid. You'll have to forgive the sound quality. I don't think they expected the jury to wash this kid up like a pair of dirty socks so fast tonight.
Outbursts in this courtroom. If there are outbursts in this courtroom, you're going to be you're going to be asked to leave by the deputy. If there was a statement or something you're going to give, you're not going to be allowed to give it because you're going to be asked to leave the courtroom. Does everyone understand? And my understanding after this, Mr. McIntyre, after you're sentenced, that they want to have a victim impact. Who is going to be giving the victim impact? All right, so the advocate is going to be saying victim impact on behalf of the mother. What I can tell you in this courtroom, I always require everybody, treat everybody with respect. I know that this is a very emotional case for everyone, but I want the deputies to have an easy time this evening. And I just want everyone to please keep your emotions at this level, although I understand there's a lot of emotions going on both sides.
Sorry.
All right, we're going to go back on the record in 2019 CR 12495, State versus Tamar McIntyre. Could I have parties announced, please?
Jason Gearhan and Megan Galloway, State Your Honor. John Hunter and Thomas Lane for Mr. McIntyre, Your Honor. He's present.
All right. Deputy Laura has informed me there was a buzz and that the jury has reached a verdict. Are both parties prepared to receive the verdict from the jurors?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's bring them in.
All right, to the jury.
Their next moments are so tense for both sides.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the court's understanding that you've reached a verdict. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is that verdict unanimous?
Yes.
All right, Deputy Laura. Thank you. All right. It states that we unanimously find that the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, did not cause the death of Anthony Saldivar under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from adequate cause. It states that punishment to be assessed at 80 years in the prison. And there is no fine. Does anyone wish to have the jury poll?
Not in the State, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm first going to start with your unanimous decision stating that there was no finding of sudden passion. If that is your verdict.
So the jury came back after a few hours, some light snacks and some brief chit-chat about the Cubs and Cowgirls, and then decided to drop the hammer on this young man and sentence him to 80 fucking years in the prison. Oh, I know the other convicts will be thrilled to know he's in for.
Just gave him the long ride, boss.
Life, huh?
I'm on the back.
I'm trying to figure out how he can be so calm for a 24-year-old dumb that threw his life away for some street cred and a lifetime of occasional ass-hoppings from his fellow inmates and guards in the Department of Corrections.
And no fine. If this is your verdict, I need you to answer yes. Does everyone understand?
I'm actually glad they didn't enforce the fine. It's kind of pointless now since he's got no way to repay it. unless he was actually getting money from the views for his song being played at nausea, but I don't believe he's getting any more income. Plus, I think it was somewhere in the area of 10K anyways, so he'd be 90 before it's paid.
Go back to the jury room, and I'll meet you back there shortly. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, Mr. McIntyre, the jury found you guilty of murder. Your punishment is to be assessed at 80 years in the prison. The court will give you credit for any time served. There's a $0 fine. And with regards to the other offense, State, are you requesting that to be stacked?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor.
And I'm assuming you're against that, is that correct?
We are, Your Honor. We would just like to briefly, for the record, maintain that our argument would be that to run consecutively an 80-year sentence on top of 50.
Just one moment, counsel. Just give me one moment. Mr. McIntyre, I want you to know that I listened to all of the evidence in punishment and thought about whether or not your sentence should be stacked. I don't know where your mom is, don't know where your father is. I know that you had a rough childhood. And I do know that these offenses occurred when you were very young. And I understand the state of the law, what people consider an adult. I listened to the testimony of the expert that was brought by defense counsel. You've already been sentenced to murder in the other county, and then you have a murder here. And the sentence for 55 years, that's a stiff sentence. This 80-year sentence is a stiff sentence. And these are cases where you have to serve half your time, and that's day for day time, and I recognize that. Hopefully you will grow, but based upon his age, based upon the number of years that he has received out of Tarrant County, and the number of years that he's received here, based upon his history and the lack of any type of good parenting. From what I can tell, his mother wasn't a good parent to him. His father wasn't a good parent to him. Child Protective Services was not good. And if you believe the testimony, I don't know why Child Protective Services would place children back with a father who put the children's mother in the hospital. Is there something else that needs to be done with our society? Yes. Is more money need for Child Protective Services and their workers? Yes. And I do realize that while this is a lot of time, and I tell people all the time, any time that you do in custody is a lot of time. But by that same token, you're still alive. And what the state has said is true. You're still alive. You can still better yourself. If you end up in prison for the rest of your life, you're still alive. You still can improve yourself. Your family can still visit you. But the complainant in this case is deceased. And you need to internalize that the complainant in this case is deceased, and that his family is never going to see him again. So you're going to have to make changes. And you're going to have to remove people from your life who are not of benefit in the means of making you a better person. And I do understand that sometimes people will go to prison, they join gangs because you need protection, because you're there by yourself, you're young, but you're going to have to make better choices. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to sentence him to 80 years in the prison, give him credit for any time served. There is a $0 fine. This will run concurrent with 1511547D. And is there any, I don't know if there's any restitution.
Judge, we've been asking for restitution to the family.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
So for those following along, this sentence of 80 years will run alongside his 55-year case, so it's concurrently, not consecutively. I mean, not that it really matters at this point.
If any, to the complainant's estate. Is there anything else with regards to sentencing?
Not from this week.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you do have a right to appeal as this was a jury trial. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and also there's an affirmative finding of deadly weapons.
Judge, and you just ask for continued contact with her within the next 10 minutes.
Well, I guess I should say there should be no contact with the family outside of legal
Yes.
for the civil matters, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So there's to be no contact with the complainant's family outside of legal proceedings. All right, is there anything else from either side?
Not from the state.
All right, Mr. McIntyre, yes?
No, nothing else from the defense.
All right, Mr. McIntyre, there's going to be what is called a victim impact statement. I want you to listen to it, internalize what's being said. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may proceed.
Now comes the victim impact statement where this poor mother is going to express her grief and sadness regarding this situation. I would normally give an ending little rant about the subject in question, but I'll let her do it for me.
Our final day together as a family, engaged in yard work. We had just moved to a new neighborhood and into our first house a month prior. Marky had been eagerly anticipating this day, looking forward to the day the grass would grow tall enough to mow it, because it was his. While we rested, he continued to work. He was diligent and a hard-working man. He helped others when he could, and was always willing to lend a hand to anyone in need. After we finished, I could see the pride in his eyes for what he had done that day. He looked happy and was excited for our new life in our new home. When he left that day, I didn't know he was giving me his last goodbyes. A hug and a kiss that will stain my heart. I didn't know when I started to text him that I would be receiving one last response, that those would be our last words to each other. He never came back that day. My son was full of love, full of hope and ambitions. He had trust in the good nature of people. He was an entrepreneur. He had a love for the arts, music, photography, videography, people, and business. He had many passions. He was a lyricist, a photographer, and a businessman. He wrote poems, and he would synthesize and compose his own music and record his own lyrics. He was an angel to a few, but a friend to all. He was excited to build connections and help people reach their potential. He had a hand in nurturing and fostering his friends' passion for music, inspiring them to pursue careers in the music industry. This isn't a fair world, but there are rules. He put his trust in you, and when he got into that car that day, and his trust was betrayed, but he lived with hope and love in his heart, and I will carry that with me for as long as I live. My son desired to live in a city that loved him. My son desired a brighter future for himself, his family, and others. He hoped for something better than this. My youngest son, Mark Anthony Saldivar's life ended on April 23rd, 2017, at the age of 23. His dreams, ambitions, aspirations, and goals taken from him. by you. He brought smiles to everyone he knew. He left his mark on all of us. I'm thankful justice prevailed so we can start the healing process to find peace and move on from this painful chapter. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.